In December of 2003, I was involved in a serious car crash, which I broke my neck at the C5 level, which has basically left me from that point down not being able to feel my body.
I'm returning back home from my night out. I went past the swimming pool in my complex I lived at, and as I was walking by I realised I left the door open, so I was like, yippee, time to go for a swim. And yeah, I slipped on the way in and I hit my head on the bottom and I broke my neck. After that I drowned. Yeah, I woke up a week later out of a coma and I was aware that I'd broken my body pretty bad.
My accident happened in 2004. I was living over in Adelaide, just out for a casual ride one day and come off the back of my bike upside down and ended up in a wheelchair.
In November 2006 I had a motorbike accident. It was a pretty serious accident and I found myself in a wheelchair for the rest of my life.
At the age of 17 I was up at Dimboola at my mate's uncle's farm. We were doing a bit of fishing. We decided to go for a swim. I jumped in, hit the bottom and ended up in a wheelchair.
In March 2004 I was driving a ute on my farm just out of Horsham. I rolled the ute and I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, window was open, went out the window and somehow or other broke my back complete at T8.
I don't actually remember what happened and nobody saw it either, so it's all a little bit of a mystery, but we can have a bit of a guess.
My neck was broken in 2 spots at C5 and C6, and my spinal cord was completely broken at C5 level. I have to have carers that help me pretty much 24/7 around the clock. I can't do anything for myself, and that in itself is very, very disempowering, not being able to eat or drink at my own speed. I eat when someone puts a fork in my mouth, I drink when a cup is poured to my lips.
Before I had my accident I was just your typical country kid, loved my sport, played a lot of basketball, footy, cricket, swimming, triathlon, stuff like that.
You know, very active in sport, used to go out on the weekends and play soccer and baseball. And
probably the main question in my head was, what's life going to be like? What sort of a quality of life am I going to have?
I think I learnt to realise, well, I'm still here, I'm still the same person, I just sit down all the time. So I basically just got on with it. I mean, you have your days where you're sort of up and down, but other than that, you just got to live life and take it as it is.
It was a bit hard, but for me it was important having people around me like my family and my friends. I think the thing is focusing on things that you have got instead of what you haven't got helps you get through. I'm very lucky with my injury because I can actually still walk. Having that I've got quite a bit of movement still under my point of injury, I can walk around. However, it's hard because I can only walk very short distances. I use probably about 10 times more energy, if not more, trying to walk than what you or anyone else would.
Probably the most frustrating thing would be stairs. Some things like going to a lift and having to wait for the lift.
Just small hurdles like footpaths, gutters.
Sometimes people's perception of people in wheelchairs is also the same. They think you've got an intellectual disability when it's really just a physical.
My main message to the general public would be that I've had an accident and I'm in a wheelchair, but I'm no different to anyone else, and hopefully they can see the person, not the disability.
If you see a person in a wheelchair, just treat them as normal, don't make it fast, it's just another person walking down the street.
You can accept it and tackle it head on and just deal with it, or you can be miserable and depressed and sad about it, and who wants to be miserable?
To be positive, you've got to look at what's around you, who's there with you, and just you got to try and achieve all that you can to make yourself be happy. I mean, you can mope around in bed and not do anything, or you can get out there and show people that you can still do things, and that, I think that makes you happy, knowing that people are looking up and going, geez, you know, he's doing a good job.
And I can still feed myself, partly dress myself, get myself around in the chair, able to talk with friends.
Oh, yeah, I was also motivated too by trying to gain some sense of independence back, being able to, you know, in the early days when I could move very little, it was a big thing for me to be able to scratch my nose. When I was able to do that, you know, can I type numbers on the phone? Once I did that, can I use the computer? So there's been lots of little motivating factors along the way, but the big one would definitely be Jay, my husband.
When I first had my accident, I was laying in bed, you know, watching the TV, and this guy come in. He was in a wheelchair, and I thought, you know, this guy looks pretty good. And he comes up to me and he says, "Are you interested in playing wheelchair rugby?" And I said, "Oh, I'd never even heard of it." And he showed me a few videos, and I was hooked. I wanted to play straight away.
2:30 to go.
Love being on the court, love spending time with the guys, just, you know, mucking around and then getting serious and playing a game and pushing myself to the best of my ability. I've just tried out for the Beijing Games, for the Paralympics. Missed out by one spot. I mean, it's made me stronger to push myself to go further, and I'll definitely be there on the next Olympics in London.